In this step, we're going to use the vector pen tool to create a line. Now, we could use the line tool. We have vector drawing tools or pen tools, and then we also have a pencil tool with a smooth and an erase tool. And for this step, the most precise will be using the pen tool. And you'll notice we can add, take away points, and then we have a convert direction tool, which allows us to create curves. And we'll get into the pen tool more when we start dealing with Illustrator. But for right now, we're just going to use the pen tool to create a simple line. And before we do this, I'm going to get the select tool, go up to view, and there's shortcuts for doing this, but for right now, we'll go to grids and guides, and we will show the document grid. And there's the shortcut step for this, okay? So there is our grid. And if you go to your preferences, somewhere in here, you probably have your grid, okay, grids. And you can set up the colors of the grid and I believe your increments of spacing. All right, so I'll leave that up to you. But I'm going to zoom in like so. And we're going to take our group, and I want my group to be on one of the main grid areas. So I'll just take this image group and move like so, okay? And you'll notice that we're probably off by a single pixel. So I'll zoom in quite a bit, and then I'll just use my arrow tools, and I believe we're good like that, okay? And now we can zoom back out. Now I want to lock the images because I don't want to take a chance of selecting the image or one of the points on the box holding the images in its group. So what we'll do is, for now, is go up to our layers. We'll find our images, okay, and they're all inside of this group for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the group, and I can even lock the images, okay? So I can lock individual layers, or I can select the whole layer and lock it. All right, do the same thing. All right, so our images are locked, so we won't make any changes to those. Now we're going to go over and get our pen tool, and if it helps, you can zoom in, and I want to create a new layer, and we are going to call this, I can't call it a vertical or horizontal because ultimately it's going to end up being diagonal to a degree. So let's just call this line art, and we'll click OK. And with this layer selected, I'll go ahead and collapse. Now I'm going to click right on this point like so, and then let's scroll up, and I want my line to go, let's say, all the way to this point right here. So I'm going to hold the shift key. This will constrain to give me a perfect line in case I'm off a little bit when I click, but I'm going to click right here, and there is my point. Now before I change anything, I'm going to go ahead and get my selection tool, and my line is still selected, okay? So we should be able to go over now, and here's the stroke. Let's increase the stroke. Now if I use, and it really depends on the density of your pixels and the resolution of your screen, but if you're trying to get a line perfectly centered, then what's going to happen is if you have an even number, chances are your line will be biased to one side or the other by a pixel. Okay, so if we use an odd number, we should be able to have one pixel directly in the middle and then the other remaining pixels, okay, on the left and the right hand side. So I am going to go with 5 pixels on this. And I might come back and change it later, but let's say 5 pixels. Now you have the type of line that you want to work with. I'm just going to work with solid. And you also have corners, if in fact you had a closed shape. But 5 pixels stroke, and we're going to keep this black also. So make sure your stroke is set to black. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and zoom out. And we will go up and view, and we will go ahead and hide our document grid for right now. And we're going to save, and that will complete this step.